How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope everything in your life is going superbly today. It is time, one of my favorite times, hopefully a good time for you and wonderful time for everyone. It is animation time, time to get inspired, time to get creative, time to play around with the wonderful world that is animation. For today's inspiration, someone shared this video that I saw this morning that was about Tracy Morgan. He did an interview on the Today Show after a big accident, and it was really heartfelt, and really you could tell that there was a lot of character and a lot of feeling and stuff behind him. Something that you don't usually see. Usually he's a very comedic actor. Let me minimize that real quick here. And it was nice to see a real sincere side of him. And then there was all the stuff about Bruce Jenner and how that's a different side of him than everyone is seeing going on right now. So it really brought up a lot that was in the back of my head about sincerity. So I figured that'd be a good thing to talk about today. So this is from the Seven Camels blog. It's a really good art blog. Definitely check it out. If you haven't, I'll throw a link in the information below. So let's just read that. The dictionary definition of sincere is free from pretense or deceit, proceeding from genuine feelings. Some great advice on the importance of the subject from Ollie Johnston. And he's one of the 9 old men. We've talked about him before. Illusion of Life. Grab that book. It's awesome. You have to make it sincere so the audience will believe anything they do, all their emotions. Ask yourself, what is the character thinking and why does he feel this way? Sincerity is an elusive quality and hard to define, but it's very important to what we do. The films and characters that come from a real place and feel grounded and sincere will stand the test of time and be enjoyed by audiences for decades to come. Over the years, there have always been snarky, insincere movies, and they just don't touch audiences or live on in people's memories the way a really sincere story will. There's nothing wrong with those kinds of movies, of course, but our goal in animation is usually to create stories that stand the test of time, and sincerity is key to accomplishing that goal. Anyways, The Illusion of Life talks a lot about sincerity as well, and I think it's just especially in the generation that we're in right now, there's a lot of sarcasm and snarkiness and everything and going on in the world, and to have a real character that, and it doesn't always have to be sincere and like happy-go-lucky and all that stuff, but just a character who's true, who's real, who says what they think, who does what they think, who has motivation and thought processes and everything behind him. If you can get that into your work, I really think it's going to push up all of your work, whatever field you're doing. You know, if you're a painter, you know, get those feelings and emotions in the people in your paintings, or whatever it is you're painting, or the feelings that you're experiencing while you're painting it, to be true to yourself and true to the work itself, and give it some heart behind it, I think is a really key thing. And it's difficult. It's an elusive, hard to grasp and hard to lay down, and it's just you know it when you see it, and you know it when you feel it. And I think it's an important thing that especially just in the world these days that isn't always there. Everything's kind of pushed off to who can be the most witty, or who can be the most clever, or who can have the quickest response that's a snappy kind of retort back and forth. And I think sincerity in the long run, you know, is those things that can just reach out and touch you and grab you and make you feel those emotions and everything is really important. But anyways, just something to keep in mind as you're working today. Check out that Seven Camels blog. It's awesome. Check out The Illusion of Life, another great book. And I'm sure any good art book worth its salt, or whatever medium you're working in, is going to have at least a little bit talking about sincerity. So anyways, this is Maya 2014. If you're new to this series, this is animation time. Kind of go in there with the current stuff that we're doing. I'm grabbing a rig off of Creative Crash's website. They have a bunch of free rigs, which are just characters that you can use to animate with. And I will leave a link to this one. This is a Caveman rig. It's very cool looking, down in the comments below. But I've never used it before, never touched it before. Give yourselves about an hour to 2 hours. It depends on the rig and depends on a lot of factors, but try to keep it within that time frame and see what kind of animation we can come up with. It's a little bit improv-y, a little bit pushing your skills, and just trying to think creatively and imaginatively. So without further ado, let's get into today's work. And let's just go ahead and create a base for him to stand on. Let's get into an initial pose here for this guy. And let's go ahead and turn the textures off on this. It's getting a little laggy already, I can tell. Let me just close that out. I had something else open. And take that arm down a little bit. Down a little bit. I'd like to get the stomach to kind of paunch out if we could. So let's see. Now this rig is a little laggy. And this is off balance, so let's go ahead and push the foot forward a little bit more. Push that foot back. Looks like we'll need a little bit more. And then just rotate the feet out a little bit as well. Rotate that foot out a little more. And I really want that belly to stick out, so let's push it out even more, and then we'll just have to offset. How many controllers do we have in the, let's see, stomach, and then let's rotate those back in a little bit more. We got something going on in this beard thing there, that's for sure. Got some definite deformation there. I'm just going to pause this real quick and we're just going to reopen the file and maybe we imported it wrong. 1 second. Okay, just had to reopen that file. And I just turned the hair layer off for now. Might have some problems with it later, so maybe we'll just keep it off. Just in the interest of not taking too much time for getting our shots set up and everything. And this should be the neck controller. Down back to kind of where we had it a second ago. And that's one thing that you'll probably come into with a lot of free rigs, and when you're switching around between different rigs, you're going to come into different issues and different I wouldn't say problems, but circumstances that you'll have to deal with when switching between different rigs. But I like the idea of him having a big pot belly. Okay, let's go ahead and take this and we're just going to bring it there. And let's go ahead and put it down a little bit more. Put that one forward, this one back a little bit. Let's rotate the feet out. It's good to have a good, strong starting pose. Give it some character right from the get-go. It's a very cool looking rig. I do like the modeling of it. They did a really good job. It's really nice. Oh, it's got a saggy butt there. Let's make sure we don't accentuate that too much from our camera angle. And let's see. Let's give him more of an underbite. I like that back. Let's see, what else do we got? What's the brow squeeze do? Nah. those out a little bit more. Okay, I think that'll work for now. Off. Let's go ahead and rotate those hands a little bit inward more. Okay, rotate that in a little bit more. Just get a nice kind of grouping with these fingers a little bit. Those two can be grouped together, and that one, let's give it a little more spread apart there. And let's give something to this hand as well. Maybe we'll give a little more bend. And let's do a little more there, and a little more there. Maybe we'll group the first one by itself a little more there. And maybe we'll take those shoulders and we'll droop them down a little bit. Ooh. No, I'll have to do them individually. Okay. Now let's go ahead and save our file here. Takes a little while. In my 2014, I do like the program, but it tends to run a little bit slower than the 2010, which I like using. It's just real lightweight. And let's see if it'll go. Here we go. Caveman. And a caveman. Okay. And so let's turn everything off and just show NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons. Let's go ahead and recreate that little base we had here for him to stand on. We got a real nice slouchy belly forward posture. Maybe we could pull this front foot a little more forward. Just a little bit. And let's pull that belly forward just a little bit more. Okay. Now that we got everything pretty much where we want it for our starting pose, let's go ahead and skip it down to 48 frames, give us one, and let's go ahead and set a key there. Okay, now let's lay in the foundation for our walk. This is the backward foot, so we want this to be the forward foot. So we got it there, so let's go ahead and go up to 12. Let's see. Set it at 12, and we'll pull it forward to, this rig's a little heavy, so it's a little laggy today, so sorry about that, folks. That's okay. Some rigs are a little more lightweight, some are a little more heavy. This one definitely has a lot more definition to it and a lot more detail to it, so it's going to be a little bit heavier. And let's go ahead and set that there, and then we'll move that forward there. And bring that one forward, and then we're going to have to move the hips forward. Okay, now let's pull up our graph editor here and translate. Let's go ahead and even out the translate forward so it's more of a universal speed as he's moving forward. And bring that up there. Let's go more set. Okay. That step feels a little short. Why is that? Okay. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get our passing positions in there. So I'll go ahead and lift that foot up. And walks are really fun to do with characters because you can get a lot of character and build a lot of who a person is by how they walk. Now, are they happy? Are they sad? Are they grumpy? Are they frustrated? You tell a lot by, is it more of a female type walk or more of a male type walk? Is it, a fit person? Is it a person who has bad health? You can tell a lot of things just by the walk there. Okay, let's go ahead and raise it up and drag it down. Raise it up and drag it down. And raise it up. And you can do a lot of up and down on this guy with the squatty legs that he has. There's a lot. I don't know if we're going to do that much. We'll probably end up pulling that back a lot. But it's okay to always over-exaggerate and pull back. And we're just evening out those translate Y values. Getting a bit of lag and a little bit of chug today, so sorry about that, folks. Main problem when you have a heavier rig is it's hard to get in and watch it, make sure that you're catching every frame. Since there's a little bit of lag, so it's something that we'll probably have to play blast a couple times and then rewatch, and chances are I'll probably have to do a little bit of tweaking after we're done recording with this video too, just to make sure that everything's playing back in the way that I like it. Okay. And let's go ahead and we'll drag those feet back and down. Drag it back and down. Let's see if they have a toe bend there. They do. Cool. So we can drag that toe and lift it. Add a little overlap on there. Drag it back there. Lift it up. And have it land. Okay, so let's see how it. Okay, probably gonna have to, since this foot doesn't really rotate from the heel, it rotates more from like the center position. We're gonna have to lower those down, I think, a little bit more to get kind of what we're looking for. And that's just a difference between this rig versus other rigs, so you just have to compensate for that. So let's go ahead and grab both of those and find the translate wise, which is the movement up and down on the feet. And let's go ahead and lower them a bit and even them out too. And let's go ahead and just save what we have here. And let's get into cog here. We just want to make sure we're grabbing the right controller there. And let's put the weight over this planted foot. Go to the next one and put the weight over that planted foot. Go to the next one, put the weight back over again. And over this side, and the weight back over again. And then balance that out again. And let's go in our graph editor. And we'll even that up a bit more. Let's see here. And now let's rotate a little bit here. And rotate a little bit there. Just so the hips are favoring whatever that planted foot is as well. Not just in the translate, but also in the rotate. And then we'll offset it on the chest once we get all that built in. And let's give our rotate Z here. Let's go ahead and pull that down. We don't need it to be so extreme. Okay, let's go ahead and watch that now. Okay, now let's favor the forward planted foot, so I'll rotate a little bit of Y, just so it favors that foot since it's in front. And the other side, do that. And that. And that guy. And that guy. And out. We'll go ahead and pull those down a little bit, and that a little bit. And even them out here. Let's go ahead and check that. Okay. And we'll save that. And now let's go into, I think there's two controllers for the chest. There's the stomach and then the chest controller. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of rotate Z to offset the rotate in the hips. So there's a little more squash and a little more stretch. Something like that. And then since we're doing this and the arms are so long and big, we're going to have to worry about a little bit of intersection there. So it's something we're going to have to address in a little bit. It's good to kind of look out for what might be problem areas or things that you might have to address early on so that you can either avoid them or at least make sure that you have time to address them later. And by being mindful of it, I think it's just a good thing to set up. A good thing to do too when you're first starting out is to write down every time you see something you want to fix, just so that you don't forget to go back in and hit those notes. And especially like in more production shots, I would definitely be jotting down every time I saw something I needed to fix. I think it's a good idea to really like spend 10-15 minutes animating, then start playing it back, look at it, take a couple of notes, then spend another 10 or 15 minutes, but just continuously pause and kind of watch it and make sure you're not getting too off track or off course. The moon looks cool tonight. think I'm going to keep them pretty static. I like the movement kind of being focused on where the belly is. I'm going to try and see if we can add some overlap and everything in that too, to get it really swaying. So let's see, this arm is, that leg is forward, so that arm would be back, and vice versa there. But I don't want him too swingy, just a little bit. And then back again. And let's go ahead and kind of even those swings out. It's okay that they favor the back position, I kind of like that. And this arm's going to be forward there, and then back, and forward, and back, and forward. Let's go ahead and check that out. There's a little laggy watching it, but that's okay. We get that bulk of the movements working. Let's go ahead and just save what we have here real quick. And let's do some elbows. So this is swaying forward, so we're going to have the elbow favor where it was previously, so we're going to drag it back. And now we're swinging back, so we're going to save it forward. But again, see why we wanted to be aware of that? We saw some intersection in that leg, so that's something that we are going to have to address by either... well, there's a couple ways we could do it. We could add extra translation in the hips to where it would really sway one way or the other. But I think the hips, I don't want them going too much. So I think what we'll do is probably just push the elbows and upper forearms out a little bit more, just so that they extend past where we want them to. Let's see. We'll do a little bit here. And drag it back again. And then yeah, let's go ahead and just pull those out a little bit more. Okay, let's see how that arm's going. This first move feels a little too much. It doesn't feel exactly right. Maybe we'll have to accentuate those arm swings a little bit more than I was hoping, but that's okay. Rather have it. Let's see. And what we're going to have to do is, I think, break that elbow so that it swings back a little bit more. Okay, that's a little too much, but that idea is a little bit better. Just gonna have to exaggerate that forearm a little bit more. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and grab this guy here. That's gonna swing forward, and then back, save it, and let's see if we can play blast so we can watch this a little bit more in real time. And so let's go ahead and turn nerve curves off, and let's go ahead and it's a little bit better so that you can get a glimpse, and let's go ahead and play blast it real quick. And sometimes this is what you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to, especially with heavier size rigs, because we just want to make sure that we're in the right ballpark of where we want to be. And you can see that it's playing a little bit better. That first move on this arm feels a little too much. That's kind of what I was thinking to begin with. So we're going to have to tone down that first rotate back on that arm. Maybe we'll tone up the movement of that arm a little more. Let's go ahead and do a little more on these hands as well. And let's go ahead and delay them one more frame as well too. Definitely don't want those to feel like they're locking, so we're going to have to break it a little bit more, because otherwise it feels like it just hits a spot here. But if you want it to feel fluid, it would actually break that elbow just a tiny bit. Let's go ahead and add a little more forward, because now it just feels like it's favoring the back swing too much. And I do want them to hang back, but I don't want to feel like it doesn't have an equal and opposite motion forward. Okay, let's go and save what we have again. And I feel like there's not enough side to side on here, so let's go ahead and take the translates and amp them up a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, now let's go ahead and do a little bit of like compress and stretch. So we'll do some extra rotate X on the like root controller, and then we'll do the inverse on the chest, so that'll add a little bit of compress between the hips and the chest a little bit. I don't want too much, but a little bit would be nice. this one, and we want to squish that down and pull it back, squish that down and pull it back, and squish that down and pull it back, squish that down and pull it back, and then we'll go into those values and kind of even them out, because I'm sure we have some that aren't as even as the others. And let's bring that back here. And let's go ahead and watch that and see how that looks with that compression in the chest. Let's see. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of swing to that belly over there. Okay. We just want to do a little bit, not too much. So let's see. Let's go ahead and move it forward a frame. Rotate Y, rotate Y, rotate Y, and rotate Y, and rotate Y. Because I think that we kind of want the belly to be kind of the key factor here. I think it's got a cool little belly to play with for this one. So I think that's kind of what we really want to amp up, and the rest of it can kind of support that idea of that belly's kind of leading the walk. And let's see. Let's go ahead and tone that down a little bit, even that out. Let's see. And maybe a little bit of translate Z. Back and translate Z. Back and translate Z. And back, translate Z. And then back. Just so there's a little bit of bounce in that too. So let's see. It's 5 and 11 and 17. I'm gonna keep these kind of uniform. 17 plus 6 would be 23. No, 22. That's right. 23 plus 17. Yeah. And 29 and 35 and 41. And then just back to what we had before. So let's see how that feels. It might be too much. little stomp here. Let's go ahead and raise that up a little bit more. That way it hits a little bit harder. I feel like those feet weren't hitting hard enough. Let's go ahead and raise that up. And raise that up. Let's go ahead and watch that now. And let's go ahead and save that. Now let's add a little bit into those fingers. Do a little bit of drag and everything in there. Okay. So it's going to be dragging back. Actually, let's do everything. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and rotate back that way and that way. I like that you can get in and really do each and every joint on this rig. Some of the rigs that I've been using the last couple of days did not have that. So, and I think hands are a really good way of expressing things and using them to animate. I really like that. So. And then let's delay everything 1 frame. And let's go ahead and do, let's grab all the tips. Let's delay everything 1 more frame there, and then grab all the tips of the fingers and delay those 1 more frame. That way we get a little bit of the top of the finger leading, the middle following, and the tip being last. And then let's go ahead and grab everything here, and we'll delay that 1 more frame, and then we'll grab everything here, and we'll have it lead with that index finger. So let's go ahead and watch that now. Let's see. Now we just want to make sure there's a little bit of change of shape there. Let's do a little bit more in-depth going into this finger here. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. And then let's do a little bit in the thumb here. Let's go ahead and delay this pinky 1 more frame too. variations on this other hand here. And let's see. Let's go ahead and grab all the rotate flies. This guy, we'll move forward a frame. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and separate all of the digit parts here. And we'll delay those a frame. And all the tips of the finger, we'll delay those a frame. Pinky and have it delay 2 frames. I'll grab the index and have it lead by a frame. Okay, let's go ahead and watch that then. Let's go ahead and make sure we're mixing this up a little bit more. And this one. Just want to get a little more variation and change of shape in the hands too. Movements feels like it's working pretty well. Let's see. And a little bit of variation on the thumb. Want to switch up the timing and everything too. A little bit of delay in the different parts of the thumb so that it adds different timing. Rotate Y. Maybe we could go in and do a little bit of sway on the jaw as well. So there's like some drag in it. And then it opens there. And then closes. So there's some. But we don't want it to look like he's talking or anything too, so we gotta be careful of that. Just like there's a little bit just to add a little bit of that there's like a lead and follow with the chin as well. And it's not just side to side. Let's see. And the other thing I want to do is let's get into those toes again. I didn't feel like those toes were working as well as they could have. So let's see. It's the toe bend. So I want them to land one frame sooner. There. And let's kick it up a little bit more. Just exaggerating that movement a little bit more and having the timing be a little more harsh so that they stomp down. Okay, let's go ahead and save what we have here. And let's go ahead and turn off our nerd curves and see if that lets us watch it at a better speed. Okay, let's try play blasting it then. And then we gotta watch out. We got some intersection on this side. So we'll have to extend that arm a little bit more out. That belly's feeling good though. I like that belly. Still a little lag while it's playing, so I'll make sure and I'll upload it and you can watch it full frames in a little bit. But I think we got the right feel to it. Maybe we could add some more animation into the brow. Maybe into the nose as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that. The first thing I noticed was we gotta work on the this shoulder here, and we gotta give a little more rotate Z, because right now we got this problem going on here. So a little more rotate Z. Maybe we can also just fix what we have on the thumb here too. So that's just a little less out. Okay, go ahead and save that again. And let's go into, was it here? More controls on. Gave us a nose controller, I think. Okay. That should let us do. Go ahead and set what we have there. Oh. I want that on. Key that. we just want a little bit of rotate line. Make the nose feel a little more floppy. And we're going to delay that by a frame as well. And then let's go into the brow. It's probably going to be too much on these brows, but that's okay. Tone it down a little bit. Okay. That feels a little better. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we have again here. I think we're getting winding down on today's thing. Let's go ahead and hit our textures here. Let's see if we can turn that. Yeah, that beard is all messed up. Oh well, that's okay. Let's go ahead and create a new layer. Okay, that's not gonna work, so we're just gonna hide that for now. Okay, we're gonna turn our nerve curves off. Let's go ahead and watch that. Okay, let's go ahead and play blast that again. Got a nice floppiness in the tummy, and in the head feels pretty good. I think we could play up the feet a little more. Okay, so let's turn our textures back off, show our nerve curves again, and let's make these raising on the feet a little bit higher. And let's get the toe bend and let's exaggerate those a little bit more. And maybe we'll do a little more rotate as well. I just wanted to take what we had on those feet and kind of exaggerate it a little bit more. look at that face more. So I think we're going to need to add a little bit of stretch and compress in the fingers as well, not just sway, but kind of a little bit of grip to them. So we're gonna. I don't want to do that. Do rotate Z. Yeah, that's fine. So set that there. Rotate Z. We'll kind of bend them in a little bit, and we'll go back to what we have here. Rotate Z. Okay, we'll just go and key that. This is what we'll just do, because we don't want to, this isn't really that important movement, we just want to sell the movement that we have already a little bit better, and that's going to mean we're going to have to change some shape a little bit. Let's see. just a little bit. And let's do a little bit of that same kind of cupping of the fingers here. Let's go ahead and cup them in a little bit here. Go out a little bit there, and then a little bit there, and a little bit there, just to add a little more change of shape there. Actually, let's do the other way around. Let's have it straighten out a little bit more there, and then cup in a little there, stretch out a little there, and cup in a little there. Let's go and watch that now. Okay. Now let's turn our nerve curves off again. And you know what I want to do? I want to save this real quick, but I want to, this background's too blah for this character. So let's create another cube here. Let's go ahead and raise it up, just so we have something that I better stand out on. Assign a new material. Let's give it a Lambert. And let's give it some color. What would be a good color to stand out with? Not a yellow, it's too yellow already. I think we need to find more of like just a light. We might switch these up though. I don't know if I love these colors. Just something, so it's not. sure we're still recording. I haven't even checked in a while. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, everybody. This is the Caveman rig from Creative Crash. Ooh, got a little dark. Light must have fallen in here. Let's see. I know someone missed it. Let me turn some lights back on. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, remember, throw me some thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. I'll be doing videos all the time. Remember what we talked about, seems like forever ago now, about sincerity and really trying to get a sense of realism and truth, whatever that may be, whether it comes from you or the character itself or the work of art that you're working on, that there's just some truth behind it and something real to it, and it's not just all, you know, over the top, too sweet or too ironic or whatever it may be, that there's just a sense of realness to it and something that someone else could connect to and find some real truth in it. And I think that'll make I know it's something that I struggle to always try and find and put into my stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, show me some thumbs up. If there's things that you think I should change or work on or whatever, definitely leave them in the comments below. If you have work that you want an extra set of eyes on, definitely share it, and I'm happy to give you some feedback or just give you some thumbs up on your stuff as well. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. We will see you tomorrow, and yeah, we'll do some more animation for animation time tomorrow. So have a great day. Keep being inspired, keep being creative, and have a good night.